seed that grows and advances the kingdom for soul winning. This word, bread of life, that I received today, it's not only for me, but to be shared with others, that they may grow in Christ as well as myself for the purpose of successful living. Thank you. You may be seated. I was laughing because I was getting ready to try to put my notes up on there, and the screen was off. Yeah, so that's okay. I want to welcome everyone, those from the Greenwood campus, those from the Greenville campus. We're here at the Greenville campus. We're thankful to the leadership, Suffolk Bishop Jeff Akers and the I Am Church family for allowing us to still be here at 1427 Lawrence Road, Suite E. But y'all got to help me because I'm a little, I wish it was some word about to come out. It might be some other stuff come out. I think one of my challenges is I'm live so much that sometimes I got to tell myself I'm live. So there's certain things that I got to make sure that you can say on camera that you can say some things off camera that you can't say on camera. And I'm like, I think I might be on camera too much. It's because there's some things that I really need to say, but then somebody will be in the audience recording it. So I'm like, okay. Everybody's good?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What we're going to do is I am going to, I think it was Sunday or last Wednesday, I had two people to give me a synopsis of what they would tell a younger version of themselves. And so one of my mentors, I had watched them, and they would bring people up, and they would literally steal the conversation from the people. And so when I got a chance to think, and I reviewed in my head what I heard from the male's perspective and what I heard from the female perspective, I said, why? Why? Why would you tell a younger version of yourself to do something differently? And so what brought me back to that was the whole scope of what we're doing, closing the circle. We have just passed the 6th month of the year. Now, the challenge is, as we enter into the first day of July, you can't say, I can do this today. I can think this today. It can be a thought, but it's not a reality until it proceeds out in my behavior. And it becomes a part of my everyday life. So I think the topic we were talking about that I was using at the first campus was identifying the triggers. And I'm going to start it out by saying this. If you and I, and many people look at me and think, oh, this, that, and the other, but if you and I do not alter the course we're on, we will be in a worse disaster than when we ever entered 2020. And I know that we have been prophesied to and we've been told about how fabulous and da-da-da-da-da, but really, we're still in the midst of a pandemic. We are completely uncertain of what's going to happen as we proceed. And it's one thing when it affects people and you can give them your sentiment. It is another thing when it affects people that you know. When it affects your mom, it affects your dad, it affects your kids, it affects your livelihood. It's easy to say, oh, God's going to bless you. But when your blessing or your resources have been tapped or cut off. And so the things that we're dealing with is starting to creep into our everyday lives. The pandemic hadn't gone anywhere. People are getting worse, more illnesses, and it is seen in some instances we're teased with stimulus packages and all of that. But to me, I view that as a shot in the arm. And what I need is an everyday reality. And so then in this culture, in this time that we live in, with such great sensitivity and such mass confusion all at the same time, the atmosphere and the climate that we're in, if we don't find a way to stabilize and brace ourselves and start building a foundation, we will never get back to where we was, and we'll never be able to go to where we belong. Because these things that are happening, that are now influencing the decision of people, and people are literally reacting to you differently. It's almost like you have to carry papers to tell people your name and who you are, because of the heightened tension and the frustration and the prejudging that is going on. So it is kind of like everybody's in an intense, aggressive attitude. Yeah. And here's the problem. Fire don't put out fire. And many people are expressing their emotions. And one of the things that I do want to get to, if I don't get to it in the first part, I'll get to it in the second part, is you got to be careful how you react to stuff. Stuff, right now, stuff. You know, people used to say it's in the streets. It's in the church. It's in the job. It's in the grocery store. It's in the parking lot. It is almost like everybody's carrying a weapon. And just if you look at me wrong, there's going to be something. You have people beefing with themselves, and now they're beefing with people. And so somebody has to draw back and draw in and realize we're going to have to go to God for some of this stuff. Now, I don't mean that means somebody run over you in the street and you just say, God bless them. No, that's a whole different situation. Okay. But you also got to be careful. Watch this. That your destiny don't get interfered by the moment you're in. Because there are things that can happen in a moment that can alter your destiny. My God. It can alter your relationship with your spouse. It can alter your relationship with your family. It can alter your relationship with your neighbor. It can alter your relationship with God. There are things that happen because when you start to lose yourself and you're in yourself and you can't pull yourself back, you're at a very dangerous point. Because the heighten of emotions right now. And so the whole climate across the globe is sensitive. So people that had trust issues really now have trust issues. And so you have to be careful what you say and what you do and where you go, because some people are just looking for a moment to express their frustration. And so I think when I came up with this, closing the circle, I had no idea we would be in this situation that we're in. And I said before we went into 2020, the number 2020, the spiritual numerical number, means redemption. And see, this is what I'm trying to tell people. You can have a point, but your point don't make a difference. You can be right, but your right don't make a difference. Ask me why. Because the clock has already been made. You got to find a way to build a new clock. And that new clock is not going to come out of your emotions and your frustration. Yeah. That new clock is going to have to come out of digging and planting in new ground. That's going to come out of patience. The Bible said this, in patience possess ye your soul. So the two people that are going to speak, and I'm going to give you this, this is what came as long as we think we are broken. As long as you and I see ourselves as grasshoppers, we're always going to be grasshoppers. No matter where God takes you, no matter where God puts you, no matter what creativity God has put in you, if you continue to see yourself as broken, and see what it does, is you really become an antichrist. Because there was no need for Jesus if you're still going to keep doubting. He gave you spiritual revelation, then he gave you a physical exercise in the birth of Jesus, which nobody's ever been able to do. And to Jesus said at the age of 12, I must be about my Father's business. And nobody yet has been able to turn water into wine. No, wine into whichever one it was. Somebody help me. I'm trying to get in that window. I might say anything. I didn't know Bernice was in the Bible last night. And somebody sent me a message, dude. They like, yo, here's the scripture about Bernice. It wasn't that deep. But thank you for the Bernice scripture. But, I mean, do you see what I'm saying? And so you have to realize God told you, but then he gave you a physical exercise. Now watch this. But you let somebody add color to it. When the Bible told you God was a spirit and they that worship him must worship him. So you're fighting God over Jesus because somebody told you he wasn't a certain color. When the Bible said, for God is a spirit and they that and Jesus came from a Palestinian family that was Jewish, so he was Palestinian and Jewish. And if you go back and do your research, why are you mad about his color? But because of the fragment of the human mind and the resistance of sin and the evil in the enemy will cause you to look at a color than seek the Spirit of God. Because the Bible says, for God is a spirit and they that must worship him. So you looking for a black Jesus, you looking for a white Jesus, you looking for a Puerto Rican Jesus, when Jesus was a Palestinian Jew. And you out here pissed off, fighting folk over a picture of Jesus. When if you search his genealogy, he came out of the lines of David, but you need to look at David's son that was named Solomon. You need to and you over here fighting and mad about color when color don't matter. Before God is a spirit, he created an exercise called Jesus and came down through 42 generations. He didn't have a daddy. His daddy was God, walked earth, did things that man couldn't do, and you got the audacity to doubt a man that shook up a tomb and put gods in front of a tomb, and he broke through, went to hell, made him a choir, came up out of the grave. Oh God. Came up out of the ground. And I've got friends that worship Daddy Grace. Came up out of the ground. Folk been looking for Daddy Grace, and folk been looking for all of these statues and monuments, but you won't even worship the one that broke the ground. Oh, I can make it plain. They couldn't break it because they didn't make it. The one that made it knew how to break it. But you don't want to believe in Jesus. But you let people who couldn't even break the dirt cause you to break your covenant with God. Jesus. Make you doubt of God. Come on, science. If you really search science, they can give you some things, but you really need to understand the concept. The majority of it is in theory, and they say we think. But the Bible says my thoughts are not your thoughts. You can look 480 light years away, but you can't look 20 million light years away because you can't see God, for God is a spirit. You've never seen the wind, but you've seen the result of the wind. Yes, God. And the wind is nothing but the breath of God. So I'm kind of like perplexed with this ideology that Jesus does not exist, but yet I want you to die, and I will sit by your grave for 3 days to see if you reign. I don't want my Daddy Grace friends to be mad at me, but he ain't got up yet, and he told you he was coming back. He just ain't got back yet. So you got to understand that your faith is critical to this moment. Watch this. And not your reaction, and not your feelings, and not your mood. Your faith is being challenged. This is why I say, as long as we think we are broken, then we will be broken. And let me tell you what society has sold us. hope. So my question to you today, before I have the two people come up, and I didn't intend to go down that road, but since I went, I may as well stay down that road. Can you see past hope? Ask me what you mean.
What you mean?
Hope is in your mouth. Faith is in your action. There are a lot of people that will tell you things out of their mouth. But where the truth comes is in your action. And like I said before, I'm sorry doesn't mean that I've changed. So when I look at the concept of closing the circle, I ask this question, why am I still stuck? So when I went back and had a moment, I thought about the two individuals who had shared something with us, and I'm not going to interrupt them. So I'm going to ask Nick and Beasley to come and share with us, because I asked the question, what would you say to your younger self? So I want him to give us the synopsis of what the 5 things that he would say to his younger self. And then I would like for him to tell us why would he say that to his younger self. Because in this month, the month of perfection, is I want to give us some things to put in our toolbox. So as you work, and if God spares our life, that we work in these last 6 months of 2020, where it's supposed to be redemption, that we don't lose what we had, and we don't lose our place to where we're going. I'll say that again. You don't lose what you had, and you don't lose your place for where you're going. Because right now, people don't feel like they're going anywhere. So it feels like we're in the wilderness. And so there are some tools that we're going to have to, watch this, develop in the wilderness that we didn't know we needed until we got in the wilderness. Because there are some metaphors that say that we're in a pandemic, but if you look at it from the biblical perspective, we're in the midst of a plague. And this is a plague that man can't capture. You know, this is a plague that there's still no vaccine. And then there's a statistic that says that 75% of the global world said that they would not take the vaccine even if it was ready. Because now the very scientists that tells you there's no God want to give you a shot, but they're not guaranteed the shot will work. And so now humanity is tired of being science guinea pig. You see, because there are certain continents on earth that they want to test this out on, but they don't want to test it on everybody. They just want to test it on somebody, but they don't want to test it on everybody. So sometimes people, when they can't control the animals, they'll try to control you. So in this climate, in this new month, we have to stop being the enemy's guinea pig. We got to stop eating everything that the enemy throws our way. Does this make sense? Okay, come on, sir. Cut my mic off.
I gave 4 principles that I would teach my younger self. They were responsibility, accountability, process, and details. And the reason why I would teach my younger self these things are, one, these are foundational principles for life. Second reason is because they promote proper behavior. The third is each of these are keys to growth and success. And finally, these keep you grounded and out of your emotions.
Amen.
Okay, hold on. Does anybody have any questions? Because you can have ideas, but if you're not going to be accountable to the ideal you have, now watch this, then you can't plant it, and it'll never grow. certain cultures have to realize that people know your hot spots.
That's right.
That's true.
Yes, they do.
And if they get you to respond, they know you're never plant. So if you're never plant, you'll never have.
That's right.
Ask me, what does that really mean?
What does that really mean?
85% of your income will always be for consumption. You're designed to be producers. And at some point, and this is a perfect time for people who have managed their finances in the pandemic, is to still manage your finances through the pandemic and manage your finances coming out of the pandemic, because a lot of stuff we thought we needed, we really didn't need. And a lot of places we thought we needed to be, we really didn't need to be. You know, every Friday I hang out at the fish fry. Well, no, I can miss the fish fry because there are 12 people sick at the fish fry. So I don't want no sick fish, and I don't want to get sick at the fish fry. Does this make sense? And you can find out a lot of things that you can do around the house. Cut the grass, paint the house. You know, there's a lot of internal work that we can do. Any other question? All right, thank you, sir. Miss Kelly?
Yes, sir.
Oh, now they want to call me sir. I was a little confused. I was a little rigid when I came in. Come on.
My first one was self-worth, love yourself. And my why to that one is don't settle for less. Know your value and your worth.
Yes.
The second one is confidence in who you will become as an adult. And the why for that is you have to walk alone as an adult. You have to be strong in God and not waver from what He's instructed you to do.
My God.
And education was my third one. And the why to that is it will be your foundation in the workforce and something to fall back on. And no one can take it from you.
My God.
And then the last one is don't listen to what others have to say about you. You are enough. And the why for that one is it's not what God says about you. Remember that. And if they are wolf in sheep's clothing, they want you to fail.
My God.
Okay.
Awesome.
Now let's go back to the first one you said.
Self-worth, love yourself.
See, here's the challenge. In certain cultures, the value has never been put on the internal.
Okay.
It's always been shaped and molded by the external.
That's right. That's right.
Now here's what nobody has really said to people. The Bible says that God looks at the heart. People hadn't built you for your intellect and intelligence. They have measured you by your shape, size, and color and texture. So a lot of people have lost out on wonderful, great opportunities to know people because there was someone who said your texture isn't popular, your height isn't attractive, your size or your appropriate isn't in the game. But they never met your heart. See, when you search the Bible, and the Bible says when a husband finds a wife, he finds a good thing. People have never broken down what a wife was until you look up a virtuous woman. What society has said was they measure you by your shape, your size, your color. And they measure you by if they can control you. They don't measure you by if they can share with you, if you all can walk together and be agreed. So they've got you to compete with you and another person, and you never know you because you're trying to please a person who don't know themselves. Because if you only measure a person, especially a woman, because a woman was designed to be a man's helpmeet. Doesn't mean she's your pack mule. She's a helpmeet. All right? If she was designed by God, hello?
Yes.
Then what's her flaws? But see, women hadn't been taught to be prepared for wives, they've been taught to compete in their flesh. So men doesn't meet the heart of a woman because each woman has a different heart and bring a level of uniqueness to the table. Because it's just like your thumbprint. No one has the same thumbprint. So we have reduced the value of a woman by measuring her based on her procreate and never being introduced to her heart. Because the reason that if we love her for her heart, then she can help us through God when we can't help ourselves. Does this make sense?
Yes.
And so many women have put themselves in a place that now your opinion matters better than God. And when God made you, he said you were good.
Amen.
So my question becomes, who brought the devaluing on you? You-
Jesus. My God.
Who introduced you to low self-esteem?
My God.
Because your beauty is not in the mirror. Your beauty is in your heart. And it is that beauty that makes a man strong and powerful. It is that beauty that comforts him when he's been whooped in the field and he's been told he was less. But that heart of a woman that talked with God when man was asleep has the infinite words to encourage him that will make him be the warrior that he has to be. But somehow, some way, it is turned to competing in the flesh rather than uniting in the spirit. See, because when God made the man the head, see, we always look at the woman and talk about she was out of place, but man was first out of place. See, if a man seeks God, he'll learn how to love you. If a man don't know God, then his first thing is the manipulation of you and to use you. Because when you know God, you'll seek the value. You won't party in the flesh. Does that make sense?
Yes, makes sense.
And so we have degraded the gift. So the question became, why am I stuck? So come on, give me yours again.
Self-worth, love yourself, don't settle for less, how, know your value and your worth.
So when I look at that text, give me the first one, the second one you just read. Know your worth.
Know your worth and your value.
See, here's the thing that if I had a one-on-one conversation with fathers, don't let another man teach your daughter her value. Don't let another man teach your daughter her value. You are the first man she'll ever love. So if you spend no time with her,
That's right.
you don't take her to get ice cream, you don't take her for walks in the park and hold her hand, then she'll never know how a man's supposed to love her.
That's right.
See, any two people can get in a room and do what adults do, but that ain't love. That's just a fleeting moment. So your daughter's first love has to be from you. And let me help us out, because everybody don't have the same mother and the same father. But if it's a child, you ought to have the capacity in your heart to still show love, because she looks up you, even though you may not be her biological father, but you the only king she knows. So when she's sitting there looking at you because she didn't make it in cheerleading and she didn't make it in the band, the words of her mother will comfort her, but the love of her father will create stability in her. So she will never walk out of the house with low self-esteem. You know why? She come from a strong example. Her father. Doesn't mean that you're not her biological father, but her father, the one that'll get up and go to work, and the one that'll say, hey, Friday, we're going to get some hot dogs together. Let's play in the backyard together. What do you want to do, daughter? Because then she see love, and she don't measure herself in competition, because now she readies herself, because she's going to look for a man that's just like you. And if you're dysfunctional, they will see dysfunctional, because they only see you as perfect. They don't know you crazy. You see, am I making sense?
Yes, sir.
And so mothers have a way of overcompensating, overpetting. See, every father needs to be in his son's life as well. Now, this ain't on my program, but whatever it is, y'all just got to get it. If they don't see you cut grass, then they don't think they should cut grass. If they don't see you work, then they don't think they should work. And so then mothers give them games because they really don't know how to deal with them, so they let them play games all day. So they grow up with this mentality that I need to play a game rather than be responsible. And then because there are so many desperate women, they will take a dysfunctional boy and think he's a man and have a kid with him. So she works and he sits at the house. Because her low self-esteem has caused her to think, I got to show my value by giving. And if you give to an animal, and so here's the whole thing. And I think I finally the process to say this. It's like a zoo. If you pet the animal and you feed him, you dull his natural instinct to hunt. Then if you take that animal and put him in the wild, he'll die, because he's used to you bringing him meat. And so with our children and with our males, and I tell fathers this, and I take it myself. You know, my youngest daughter, we had a conversation on Monday, and she shared with me, we text, but we've not seen each other in a year. And so as a father, so don't think I'm perfect. I got some on my track. And I'm still trying to clean up. You see what I'm saying? So don't think I'm sitting here as a perfect and I was a model. I fail. So what I have to do is, you're 25 and I haven't seen you physically in a year, and you live 15 miles, 17 miles from me. Then I fail. So I need to have a conversation with you to see how you're feeling, and now I can understand. And also I asked her, said you dating? She said no. You know why? Look at your daddy. If your daddy, even though you're grown, is going to be inconsistent, and I text you, and I support you while you're in college, so it ain't a financial thing, but I also hadn't been present. See, I believe you got to own your own stuff. I don't care. Well, you know, I would have never said that. That's you. I'm trying to help men and say that I also have flaws, and I also have to be better. So what she said to me before she left, she's 25 now, and she said to me, she said, yeah, and I gave her a hug, and she was all tight, and I said, okay. But she said, you're the parent. And what it said to me is, I still look up to you, but you've let me down. And I have no real reason outside of hang-ups that I let her down. So I told her it won't happen again, because I don't believe in telling you things and then not saying, look, you're looking at an imperfect man. And I have to get better as a father. And I also have to prepare both my daughters so they can look for a balanced man, and hopefully he's in God. Does this make sense? But their first example is they're going to look at me. So I openly said, I fail you. Even though you're 25, even though you're grown, and you've gone on. Didn't even know she had a job for a whole year. Where have I been? I text, hey, I'm going to drop off your scholarship money, da-da-da-da-da. But I have not physically connected. So I, myself, have failed. So I shared with her, I said, I'm not going to tell you anything. I'm going to show you. Because I don't want you to meet someone who really you could partner with in life and you bitter because of my absence. See, when you talk about responsibility and accountability, it's more than money. It's more than child support, which she's passed all that. But I told her, as long as you're in school, and I did not know she had finished all her prerequisites and her scores are high enough, and she's just waiting to get in a nursing program. I missed all that. Oh, I would get the text, I'm taking the next, but she's taking her, BSN classes? So in the middle of the summer and paying for them herself. And so what I sit there and said, they say you look like me, but I don't really see you looking like me. But I can see the ticking of your mind that you inherited from my lineage. And I've got to do a better job and not fail you as you pursue. Because she could probably be a better strategist than me. But a whole year? And you living easily? That's on me. Own it. And don't be grudging.
Yeah, man.
So come on, read yours again. So we're going to have to do a part 2. So 7:55, all right? 7:55, all right, come on.
Self-worth, love yourself, and don't settle for less. Know your value and your worth. Confidence in who you will become as an adult. You have to walk alone as an adult. You have to be strong in God and not waver from what He, God, instructed you to do. Education is key. It will be your foundation in the workforce and something to fall back on. No one can take that from you. And don't listen to what others have to say about you. You are enough. It's not what God says about you. Listen to what God says. And if they are a sheep in wolf's clothing, they don't want you. They want you to fail.
They want you to fail.
Yes.
And some people want you to fail because they can control you. All right? Why am I so? Thank you all. Thank you all. So let me clap. Because I meant to tell them yesterday, and I didn't get a chance to tell them till they got here. So I got a 0 on that one. We're going to read Psalms 1. And I had started this this question, and so I briefly shared with you, why am I stuck? I want to ask you a question, and we'll be together for about maybe 15, 17 minutes. We're in a new month, but are you still trapped by the old you? We're in a new month. Today is July 1st.
Yes.
We're in a new month. It's supposed to be a new quarter. But are you still trapped in an old you? What new behaviors, what new processes that you put in? So come on, let's read the Psalms 1.
Psalms 1 verse 1. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful.
Okay? Here's what I would say to you and me. We have to find a new approach to resolving and dissolving current issues as well as past issues. Ask me why. Emotions will only take you so far, and they will leave you more drained. Because if you have hidden underneath surfaces, if you already have a volcano rumbling, it's like in the ocean when we have these hot springs, and then you get a crack, and the platelets move, and that steam comes up. See, if we don't address the hidden issues within us, we will always approach things through our emotions. I said this, and I had a couple of people come to me after service and ask the question. Here is the thing. We have to stop responding and reacting to things. We have to. We don't see that some of this stuff is by design.
Okay.
You can have a problem with something, but you can't fix that problem in the street. You can whoop somebody in the street. And sometimes it's needed. Now y'all put the word in there. I went quiet. Can I give y'all a real example? Can we have a real talk for a moment?
Yes, please.
I purchased a dock pier. It wasn't too many people in agreement with me when I purchased it, and it was $6,000. I purchased it in January. It's now worth 15 to 20. But here's the problem, and I'm going to share something with you all. In this pandemic, and in this racial tension environment, and this is real talk, somebody Monday parked in my spot. But I'm the only person of whatever y'all want to say, color, black, Negro, whatever y'all want to call me, in the community. You cannot always respond to everything that happens. You can't always react. You don't beat people in the physical. You get at the table and you rewrite the laws. So I shared with them. I had some people of color staying at my place. I'm the only one in the community. And so I told them, because I know the tension sits in our country, all you got to do is just read. And none of us are there. So I know if they go get in the pool, somebody going to call the police. Because they say y'all don't swim. So what you doing in the pool? So I prepared the community. Not that I should have had to, but because I know it's needed. So then on Monday, somebody just pulls up in my spot. And so I had to think. Because you didn't pay for that spot. But you're just going to pull up in that spot. So I said, okay, now how am I handle this? I said, I'm going to give them to the mark because it is storming. Tuesday, they were still in my spot. Wednesday, they still in my spot. Now, no, because see, that's a reaction, saying something. So what I did, since I own it, I went and got my papers. Because truth be told, if I go down there and they down there, who you think they're going to believe? Because I've already been down there. And people who don't even live down there, and they renting, I own. It's the difference in owning and renting. They looking at me like, one boy almost fell in the ocean because he was just in the lake. What? So I said, okay, I see the climate. So I called my friends. See, what sometimes your reaction does is close the door on the inside, and you're going to need some inside people. You see what I'm saying? Because you can't solve everything out there. Throwing chicken and biscuits, and you can't solve everything out there. So what I did is I said to them, I said, let's have real talk. I said, if I go down there and cut that boat, which they said they was going to do, cut it and let it float out in the water. Yeah, but that's a reaction. So I stayed up 2.5 hours last night to 5 a.m. this morning finding my papers because I'm going to have to have something. Even though I got the keys to the house and got the best looking house on the lake in that area, ain't nobody gonna believe that's my house. This is real talk. And especially, I'm the only one down there. So what I did is I called the guy. I said, hey, and we have real candid conversations. I said, I need your input. Cut the boat and let it float, Reggie. Cut the boat and let it float. Cut the boat and let it float. No. I said, because I don't want to do that. Because if they come back, because we got cameras, who they going to blame? I said, so I need a strategy. I said, I've already found my papers that I own it. I said, but the papers that are registered with the county, I can't find. I forgot that I sent them over to my trust. I said, so if you could help me with that, I said, so what would you do? I cut the road, Reggie. No, I can't cut the road, even though I want to. I said, if it's there tomorrow, I'm probably going to cut the road. Okay? But I want to do something before I react. So he said, let's call DNR. But see, here's the thing. A picture is worth 1,000 words. So I took pictures and I was so frustrated, and I'm not a good speller anyway. I put on the thing, private own. O-N, not private own. Y'all can laugh. I can show y'all the picture, man. It was like, dude, you can't even spell. You're gonna leave somebody a note. And you can't even spell owned. And so I put tape on it. I said, this is private owned. Please do not park here again. Thank you. And so when I looked at the note, after I had calmed down, I said, dude, you need to go get that note. Because you totally misspelled own. But this is what happens when you react. I went in the house, took out my business little printer, and I'm using Gremlin, and Gremlin didn't even tell me I was wrong. I done printed out 4 copies, walked up the hill and got some tape. And they said, well, I'm going to call so-and-so and say Reggie who boat it, you know. I said, well, you know, I'm just trying to do, you know. So the guy said, let's call DNR. I said, okay. He said, watch this. Hey, I'm the owner of the dog. You are. But I also own my little pier. You own the dog, but I own my pier. So I need you to call. So he called, and he hit me back. Teach you something. Your emotions will never let you follow process. So he said, would you happen to have the number of the, sure do, right here in my phone, because I took pictures. Sent it to him. DNR called them. Mind you, the boat hadn't been inspected since 2001. Violation number 1. Violation number 2, you parking on a private pier. Violation number 3, you didn't even get permission. Violation number 4, they can't cut and let you float. Okay? So he said, do you have to send it to him? Send it to them. They called the person. Said, you got 30 minutes to get your boat before it floats. Mind you, they never saw me. See, it is a philosophical and psychological kind of way to have you act out in the street when you need to beat people at the table. Do you see what I'm saying? And you have the ability to do it. You just don't have the patience to follow it through. Because I know what will happen. Somebody will ride by my house and they will paint something or say something. And then there's going to be some fireworks before the 4th of July. And so y'all going to see Pastor doing some things. And I'm going to call some friends. I got EJ, one of them right here with me. Come on, EJ, get the boys. Because we got a little situation that I know going to roll up. A little situation. We don't need no cutters. We need some stretchers. Okay, because they can't get too close. Because I know how tensions are. And nobody going to believe me. You say, what? You got any proof? They don't have no proof. So then now I'm going to be out myself. Because you ain't going to ask them if they got some proof. But you're going to ask me if I got proof. They're not supposed to be here. Then we're going to have a real problem. Then y'all going to be like, is that Pastor Greenwood? Did you say that? We're supposed to have Bible study Wednesday. Did he call anybody to make bail? You see what I'm saying? So I had to use a different approach. And use the tools that are there. So then you never have to see me, because if you see me, your process of the situation will change. So I can't let you play on my emotions. And I said this to you, bricks today sets up tomorrow foundation. Then my good people in my community start texting me, did they move that boat? I didn't tell them how it happened. You know what I said? Thank you for the update. Because God knows I was finna take we don't have them no more, but I was finna take my box cutter. Because back in the day, you had Hawk-built knives. I don't know if they're legal now. And I was finna let a boat float. But I had to follow a process. Look at somebody and say, you're going to have a strategy. Everybody ain't an enemy. There's information you're going to need to deal with certain situations. You're not going to beat anybody in the street. If you want real change, you're going to have to make it at the table. And you can't come to the table yelling and fussing. And you can't come to the table with your emotions. You're going to have to come to the table with some substance. So as I get ready to close, today's bricks sets up tomorrow's foundation. As long as we think we're broken, we will always be broken. Here's the thing that I said, and some people asked me about, and I won't even deal with the other part. I'm just going to give you this and we're going to close. Is everything that is said, and even things sometimes that are done, does not deserve a reaction. So there are people that are going to say things. There are people that's going to do things. And if you're not careful, you'll boil over. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And here's the thing no one has taught you. You're too valuable for that. See, here's the thing. Brokenness never has a retirement center. God does. Anger never has a retirement home. God does. The streets never have a retirement home. God does. Bitterness and low self-esteem never has a retirement home. God does. Because God offers you and I rest. Peace in your spirit. And some things people are doing, they're doing it purposely. Can I tell you why here in the last 2 minutes? As long as you're distracted, you'll never plant. You'll never plant. Can I tell you why? Young man, you know about HVAC, right? I don't have no HVAC license, but I can think. So I had someone who had an HVAC license to go find me some R22. Truthfully, and I'm straight talk, $10 a pound. But because my AC is under warranty and it's out on my first floor, they're gonna charge me $115 a pound. Now I have it in the garage, but it avoid the warranty if I use my container. So you need to be planting something. You need to be planted. We don't understand. People do things to keep you pissed off. If you pissed off, you can get pissed on. Y'all didn't get that. If people keep you pissed off, then you're there to be pissed on because you can't think. This is why I'm changing CPAs now. See, if people keep you pissed off and in your emotions, you can't think. But because I knew someone who had finally got the HVAC stuff, I asked them when they brought the receipt back, it was $10 a pound. But they're going to sell it to me for $115, $125 a pound. Now watch this. This is what I tell people about economics. Before you go buy a car, everybody going to tell you it's a good car. But if you really want to know the value of the car, call the bank and call the credit union and ask them what would they give for the car. Here is the scope. They will not give a penny more than the car is worth. Now watch this. The people that warranty my homeowners, I'm not going to call their name, said to me, watch this, we're only going to pay $10 a pound. What did I just tell you how much it costs? But how much did I tell you I paid for it? So what is the AC company going to pay for? $10. They're not going to pay a penny? No. I got to pay. They're going to pay $10 a pound. I got to pay the rest of the $115. Because that's profit to the person that can think. That's profit to the person that has a certification. I got a full tank, 30 pounds, worth of R20. Now don't go to my house and steal it, because it might be some bang bang if you go on there. Okay, it's gonna be some bang bang, because I got cameras. But they're not going to pay a penny more than what it costs. But because I don't have an HVAC license and I would warrant a warranty if I had anybody else to do it, because it has to show up on paper that this particular company used its own R22 Freon to fill this unit, which is a 3-ton unit, but it's going to take 8 pounds. See, if you don't know the details, and you always out there in your emotions and your feelings, you will always get robbed at the table.
That's right.
So I said, okay, I don't have a choice. But after it's done, I do have a choice. So I'm going to give it about 3 or 4 months, and I'm going to drop them. And I'm going to find me somebody else that can, because I've been without AC since like the 10th of June.
Oh my God.
And they told me it's going to be 3 to 5 days before it get here. Then I got to get on their schedule. And then they still going to come and they're going to get a brother. I'm still going to be out $115 because, see, here's what we don't get. If the true value is what, when you get ready to purchase something, you need to call around. Just don't take what people say. I like it. They did. I can get it. I can get the car. I can get it. I don't mean that it's what they selling you something. You need to call the bank. You don't need to tell them what your credit score is, but say, in this ballpark figure, what would you give for this car? And it's always going to be $3,000 less than what they're asking for. That extra $3,000 is profit. Then if they finance it, they're going to get money on the front end, the middle end, and the back end. And you somewhere happy about the color, broke as a skunk going across the street that don't have a home to go to. Because as long as you're in your everything that happens, and see, here's the thing, and I'm glad a parent came and asked me, you can't teach your children to react to everything that's going on. Because daddy, they're watching your behavior. Mama, they're watching your behavior. If you want to win and you want true change, you're going to have to deal and sit down and understand you're not going to get 100% of what you want, but you might be 100% right because there's more than you in this world. You're going to have to negotiate and you're going to have to come to an agreement.
Yes. That's right.
Your emotion's not going to win the battle. You don't like what somebody doing, build your own. You can't change his or her ideology, philosophy, or theory, or their behavior. You can't change, and you can't. And see, one of the things people know about certain people is you can push certain buttons, and they'll be off course for the next 10 years. Mad at everybody. There's a couple coaches that a couple coaches need to learn from. Some people don't try to beat them in the streets. They beat them in the books. Hello? Study baseball. Right now, 46% of baseball is ran by Ivy League teams. People, or I almost said something, people who can't even play baseball, never played baseball. But yet they run in the baseball organization. You know why? They studied the analytical part. There are people who study stuff, and they can predict your behavior. They can predict your response. And if they can do that, they can always control your destiny. So who is avoiding God, and who's allowing people to avoid the God out of their life? God bless you. I'll see you on Sunday.